about time to get started. I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes as people are logging in and allow people to get settled in, and then we'll get the show on the road here. Like to start at about 3:05. Hello, everyone. It's 3:05, and we are going to go ahead and get started today. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out of your Sunday playoff afternoon to join us here today and honoring our 2020 Grove City Eagle football team. Before we begin the ceremony today, just have a few things that I'd like to touch base on before we get started. First of all, I wanted to mention, as you guys are viewing today, if you're watching on a computer, especially if you have it on your TV, in the top right-hand corner, there should be a box that says View. And if you click on that box, you can click on side-by-side speaker, and that should give you the best visual representation for today's banquet. Also today, please make sure that your microphones are off so we don't have any background noise and everybody can listen and hear clearly to today's ceremony. So as we begin today, obviously not exactly how we would plan to have our 2020 banquet, but such is the case in 2020. If the Heisman Trophy Award ceremonies can be virtual, I think we can pull this off and make it a special banquet for our 47 student athletes that were a part of this team this year. I think we have a great ceremony today ahead, and so is the theme of today. You're going to hear a lot about in today's presentation the word sacrifice and love. And as we think about a normal football season, the amount of people that are a part of making a season successful, it's absolutely humbling when you actually think about it, and especially in our past season with all the restrictions and all the extra guidelines and red tape. There is going to be a lot of people that are mentioned today that have sacrificed their time, effort, and talents to make this season a success. And I'm sure we are going to miss some people. And when we do, I'm just going to apologize in advance for that, because we could not have pulled off this season without the help of everybody. And just at the beginning today, the first two people that I just want to mention as we begin is number one, Amy Trezona, and not just as a football parent and not just as a football wife, but also as our booster president. And a lot of what you are going to see today is thanks to Amy and the many, many thousands of pictures that she took throughout the season that all of you, I hope, have had the opportunity to see and to view. Such very special pictures, and thank you, Amy, for sharing that with all of us and allowing us to use that today in our presentation. Also, a special thanks to one of our players, John Hake. We call him the GOAT, and special thanks to John for taking the time. He put in a lot of time in working with this presentation, making sure that it looks nice, and just a funny story to show how humble he is, and he didn't want to be thanked, I'm sure, for that. But as we were working on the presentation, we can see simultaneously when we're working on it together. And I had put a slide in today's presentation, especially for John, so I would remember to thank him and give him his credit. And as I put the slide in, about 5 minutes later, I go back through the presentation and the slide had been deleted. So John, I get the last laugh today. Because I'm the one talking. So thank you so much for all of your help in the trial runs and the time that you've spent over this last week and a half to make sure that we have a nice presentation for the viewing public. And today, guys, thanks everybody for joining our Zoom call. To those of you that are watching on our live stream, thanks to John Medvey. And we're going to be talking about our live stream a little bit later on today. Thank you, and a special thanks to our parents. What a tremendous exhibit of patience this year. Thank you, parents, for being there. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for supporting your student athletes, your son, your daughter. throughout this year and being patient with our ever-changing schedule and emails and then changes to schedules and more emails going out. We really appreciate your patience and your support. It was much appreciated this year. So without further ado, just our final announcement, I guess, is that John Hake is also going to be making a condensed version of our banquet to send out if people weren't able to make this ceremony today. He's going to sort of shorten it down to the major videos that you're going to watch today during the presentation. So thank you again, John, for doing that and making sure that everybody has a chance to honor, to remember, and to think of our 2020 football team. I'd like to begin today with just a moment of silence. And in this moment of silence, these last several months have been a strenuous several months, to say the very least. And the coronavirus has affected people in many different ways, and everybody in one way, shape, or form has been affected over these past several months, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be in our small businesses that are struggling during this quarantine. Just take a moment of silence and to think about those in our community that have struggled, to think about those in our community, in our state, in our nation that have struggled over these past few months. Thank you. And with that, it also brings to mind just how blessed we are and how fortunate we are to have this football season and to be able to have this banquet and to be able to have this ceremony today. What a special season it was. The year 2020, to say the very least, was a crazy year, a year full of the kind of memories that you remember where you were when that happened. A year full of conversations, I'm sure, that you started with, man, it's so crazy. I can't believe this is happening. Or can you believe that they did this? Or can you believe this? Just a year that was full of ups and downs, a year that was full of twists and turns, a year that was full of adversity at every turn. And I think it's pretty much safe to say that it starts with March 13th. And on March 13th, I'm sure this is one of those memories that you remember where you were at when you got the word that our state was shutting down, that we were to quarantine, that we were to stay in our houses and we weren't able to see anybody. And we're supposed to stay away from everyone. And just what a surreal feeling that was. We just happened to be in the Atlantic Ocean fishing, actually, with my wife and her college friends, and just thinking how surreal this is that we're experiencing this. And obviously the first conversation right away came to football season and what's going to happen in football season. And I just distinctly remember so many conversations of, well, that's so far away. We still have summer and then school starts, and there's no way that it's going to affect us then. And boy, were we wrong. And one of the things that just totally caught me off guard, and you realize that, man, this is getting serious, is the fact that March Madness is canceled. Can you believe that? One of those conversations that you start with, can you believe that March Madness is canceled? They're not going to have the biggest basketball tournament, one of the biggest sporting events of the year. And that was just an indicator or a foreshadowing of what was to come. And I want to take a moment just to think about our seniors last year and our spring sports that lost their season. And again, to think about how fortunate we were to be able to play our 8 games, to think about how fortunate we were to have our season, because there were seniors last year that missed out on being able to compete. There were seniors last year that missed out on making memories with their teammates. So to our baseball team, to our softball team, to our track and field team, we think about you, we empathize with you, and we look forward to being able to watch you compete this year and make memories of your own on the diamond and on the track. Another crazy conversation. Can you believe that a mask it was ever going to be a part of our everyday attire? That we wouldn't think about going anywhere in public without putting a mask on. And it almost turns into a type of game. As a couple weeks ago, we were sitting in the parking lot and I had to return something at Kohl's, and I got in the car, and Christine and I were sitting there, and we had to laugh as she watched people get out of their car, take a few steps. You could see them say to themselves, "Ah, shucks," and they ran back to their car to get their mask, um, because they had left it there before they walked into their store. And just a crazy time to think that that's just going to be part of our new normal. To think that one of the hit songs on the Billboard charts was going to be a song about social distancing, and Luke Combs singing about being 6 feet apart and all the things that maybe we took for granted in 2020 that we never thought of before. And now that they're gone, boy, you appreciate them even more. And again, just a crazy thing to think about, that you're going to go into a grocery store and there's going to be actual dots to tell you where to stand. And there's going to be directions that tell you which way to walk when you go up and down alleys. Another crazy aspect of the year 2020. And to our businesses and to our restaurants and our community that are struggling, you begin to realize some of these things that we take for granted. And in February 3rd, to our seniors, we look forward to taking you to Talbot's and enjoying a senior dinner again, and a senior dinner together, and sharing some memories together at one of our favorite restaurants. I never thought that I'd look so forward to be able to go out to eat, something that we won't take for granted, I'm sure, again. And again, to our community businesses, we are thinking of you during these tough times. Not Corona related, but memorable nonetheless. The year 2020. I'm sure many of you remember where you were when you received the news that Kobe Bryant and his daughter and teammates had passed. And Kobe goes down as obviously an all-time great. And he's the kind of competitor that my generation, when they step out on the basketball court, they would emulate, and they would pretend that they're Kobe as they shoot their fadeaways and drive for layups. And Kobe Bryant was one of those rare combinations of out of this world talent and even more out of this world work ethic and leadership. And his Mamba mentality and leadership lessons are lessons that are going to be carried on in our own captain's program for many, many years to come. On a lighter note, I never thought that I would be cheering for my favorite team, and I would be sitting there on the couch last night screaming, "Go football team." My goodness gracious, another twist and turn to the year 2020. And as if it weren't crazy enough, on December 31st, Josiah and Curtis, I thought you would appreciate this. Can you believe that Netflix took The Office off the air? Oh, what a punch in the gut. As many times you would walk into our coach's office and there's The Office playing in the background. Man, I can't believe that. And through all of these times of adversity and through all of these obstacles that we all face together, what really helps during these times is to have a foundation, is to have a philosophy, is to have core values that you could fall back on and you can believe in to help you get through these times. And I'm sure you guys have heard us talk about these often, and players, you better know them by heart. But our 4 core values in our program that we coach and we teach every day are values of attitude, of effort, of competition, and of sacrifice. And these values weren't values that were picked randomly. These were values that we came together and we developed because these were going to be teachable characteristics that we can coach every day on the football field. And these are characteristics that are going to produce better husbands. They're going to produce better fathers. They're going to produce better professionals. They're going to produce better men. And oh, by the way, as a side effect, they also just so happen to produce better football players. And as we think about our core values, one of the ones that today we're going to be talking about over and over again is the value of sacrifice, is the value of putting somebody else before yourself, is the value of, as you start to think, I want to think what we need and what I can do to help somebody else. And as we think about sacrifice, one of the words that we associate with sacrifice is love. As you think about other people and you put other people before yourself, that's an example of demonstrating love for your teammate, love for your family, love for your peers, love for the people around you. And one of our coaching points and one of our phrases that you'll often hear on the practice field as we talk about sacrifice is the phrase that each of us needs all of us. And in our football program, that speaks to the fact that there is no role that is too small. There is no role that is too small and doesn't need filled. It's not just about what people can do on the football field. It's not just about the star athlete. It's about everybody. And in order for this program to be successful, each of us needs all of us. From the star football player to the last freshman off the bench. In order for us to be successful, we have to be all rowing in the same direction, and we all need each other. And boy, doesn't that ring true this year as you think about all of the people that have gone out of their way, that have taken time, that have donated their time, their specialties, and their talents to help make this season a success. We can't begin to thank you enough. And we're going to begin today with our booster president, Amy Trezona, as she has a message from our boosters.
Hi, I'm Amy Trezona. I am president of the Football Boosters. We have a lot of people to thank for making this season a success. First of all, I want to thank all of our booster members. We have David Martin, who is our vice president, Kim Homan, our secretary, John Medvey, our treasurer and our technical guru, Cherry Reiber, our event coordinator, Wendy McCarl, who is in charge of concessions, and Corey Hake, who is our auxiliary board member. Everyone at the start of this season we were all new to these positions. We made up a lot as we went along, and we worked together as a team. I'm so very thankful for all of them. I want to thank everyone in our football family. Everyone stepped up and helped us in so many ways this season. We had new needs as we were left without our major fundraisers and our money makers. And so many of you stepped up to help make this season a success and to give our players everything that they needed throughout the season. To all of you who donated water for our practices, who donated food for our away games and for our playoff treat bags, those who just donated extra money because they knew we were in need and they just donated just because. Special thank yous to some people who really went above and beyond this season. The McCready family, who donated an entire pallet of water for our boys throughout the season for their practices. The Grove City Area Federal Credit Union, who donated water and gift cards to that as well. Kay and Tom Amy, who are no longer even members of our community. They now live in New Mexico, but found out about our need through social media and mailed us money. Kurt and Christy Schumacher, the Howard family, and so many others. Very special thank you to Kristen and Kurt Huvis for their contributions of time, money, effort that made team live stream a possibility. So many were able to view our games this year, even though they weren't able to be there in person. John Medvey, who, along with being our treasurer, spent countless, endless hours on our booster website and producing great live streaming videos. Jared Henshaw, who is a teacher at the high school, for his time and expertise in getting the live stream up and running and doing what he does best, which is teaching, although this time he was teaching our adults instead of our students on how to use all of this technology. Huvis Truck and Auto Supply and High Branding for their donations of the Gators to all of our players for this season. Wendy and Cherry for the hours spent on our great water hydration buckets and producing a great discount card. Dave Martin for the maintenance of our team trailer, for transporting our growing list of stuff and being a great team mom. And most importantly, to our coaches for following district and state protocol, for keeping our kids safe while preparing them for each game, leading them through a very different and difficult but ultimately successful season with lots of fun-filled memories and life lessons. So thank you to all of you and to everyone who I have forgotten to mention for making this season so successful. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Amy. That was great. And as you listen to that video and her message, how humbling to think about, again, all of the people that were a part of helping make this season a success. And again, parents, that all starts with you guys. So thank you guys very much. And I'm just going to reiterate a few of those thank yous over again. Thanks again to John Medvey, and this is our Grove City Eagles football website and the time that he takes in. What a great website and what a great resource for our football family. John, really appreciate the time that you put into making this happen and put this together. On this website, when you visit here, you're going to find links to all of our live stream from all of our games of the past season. You're going to find a link to meet the team and to see everyone that was a part of this 2020 team. There's an alumni fan page, and please, to anybody watching, to our alumni, please visit the page and sign up and become a part of our mailing list and make sure that you stay in touch with our football program. He's put together a donor wall of fame as people have donated so much to this program to make sure that we honor that. What a great addition to the site, a whole history of Grove City football going back decades and decades is really impressive. So there was a lot of work that has gone into this football website. John, being the creator of this, thank you very much for providing that resource to our football family. And also, I forgot to mention, also a team shop, which is a great little feature as well. A special thanks to our live stream crew. And pictured here is Jared Henshaw, his wife Ashley, and son Porter. And our live stream was something that was just so wonderful this year. To be able to serve other people, to be able to bring Grove City football into the living rooms of people anywhere was so special, especially this year. Jared and his wife Ashley are unbelievable members of our community, and the talents they have in the classroom and beyond that. Jared is and his wife are just great people, and Jared is a wizard when it comes to technology. So for him to take the time to help make this happen, we cannot begin to thank the Henshaws enough. To Kurt Huvis, his wife Kristen Huvis, thank you guys so much for helping this live stream become a reality. We can't thank you enough. To John Medvey, Jody Ahern, again, for the time that you put in helping get Grove City football into the living rooms of all of our fans, of all of our families that weren't able to be there in person. What a special treat this year. Thank you all so much. Few more people to thank. Have to make sure to thank our administration, Dr. Finch, Dr. Weaver, Dr. Smith, Dr. Howard, Mr. Young, just for the endless support through this year and all of the obstacles and adversity that were faced. And it was just one of those years where every morning you woke up and I almost cringed looking at my phone or checking the email because who knows what was gonna pop up next. And our administration has just been fantastic in the support and fantastic in guidance and helping make this season a success. And of course, we cannot thank our trainer, Lauren Rose, and her husband, Mike. Lauren has just been fantastic. The amount of love and the amount of care that she shows in what she does and the hours that she puts in to help to help our kids be safe, to help our kids be healthy, to help our student athletes get back on the field. Lauren, thank you doesn't do it, but that's all I can do from here. So thank you so much, Lauren, for everything that you have done this year. I want to thank Coach Chin. Coach Chin coached at Grove City College for many years, and not only for his hours of advice, and anytime there's a question, we could always go to him, and what a great sounding board he's been for us, but also the GOAT training and the hours that he spends down with John on the field. Almost every day before practice, you go down and Coach Chin and John are down there kicking. And after practice, Coach Chin and John are down there kicking. And wow, I mean, wow, talk about sacrifice and something you're doing because you love the kids, because you love football and you love to make a difference. Thank you, Coach Chin, for everything that you have done for us. To Clayton Martin and his father, Dave, as Amy mentioned, Dave takes care of our trailer and gets all of our equipment from point A to point B, and Clayton being a part of that road crew. And I had to give Clayton a hug after our last game and just let him know that he's done helping out with the road crew, that next year he's going to be in pads himself. But I wanted to make sure to thank Clayton for the time that he put into and the effort to getting everything packed up, and what a huge helping hand that you have been this year. So thanks a lot, Clayton. Look forward to seeing you on Monday in school. Into our Grove City College staff, Coach DiDonato and his staff, Coach Lutz and his staff, for the hours and hours of advice and time that they spend helping us out. How fortunate we are to have one of the best Division III football programs right across the street, have one of the best Division II football programs right up the road, and having two staffs that are just tremendous coaches, even more tremendous men, in the advice and the time that they have taken to help us out. And before I move on, obviously, to our amazing football to our amazing football family. This picture we took at the beginning of this season, and in this picture are some of the most important people outside of my immediate family. To say that they're great coaches is an understatement. To say that they are great men is an understatement. These amazing gentlemen, their wives, fiancés, girlfriends, families, are what make this program go. I cannot begin to thank you, coaches, enough for everything that you do for our kids, to helping them become men of integrity and successful. Again, thank you just doesn't do it. To the wives, always being there in support, and the hours that you put in, and putting up with your husbands, and not just that, but loving them, loving us, loving our kids. Thank you guys so much. And Christine, again, thank you for your patience and always being there in support. I love you. Thanks. Okay, let's get through that, guys. One of our other coaching points when we talk about sacrifice is to be where your feet are. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it's just that, to appreciate what you have around you, to become unplugged and put your phone down, and to enjoy the people that you have in your company, and to be present all the time. And when we think about our vision to build men of integrity by cultivating meaningful relationships, and I want to emphasize creating memories that will last a lifetime. One of the things that struck me as 2020 was winding down, and 2020 was about to ring in, was all of the countdown shows were about, let's forget about 2020. Let's throw it in the trash. Let's get rid of it. And I couldn't help but think that I don't want to forget 2020. Without 2020, we wouldn't have the memories that I'm going to share with all you guys here shortly. Without 2020 and its obstacles and adversity, we might not have learned some of the lessons that we've come to learn. Without 2020, we wouldn't have the time to spend with our football team and our football family, and the many hours that we get to spend with these young men and women. There are just so many memories that people don't get to see, and we'd like to share some of those memories with you guys. And without 2020, these memories wouldn't be in our bank to hold on to forever. So instead of wishing 2020 away, I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for the memories that we got to create together. And here are just a few, some of these lighthearted, because these are the kinds of things that we deal with on a daily basis that are going to put a smile on our faces for many, many years to come. And the first memory that I like to share comes from our leadership whitewater rafting trip. And this picture is taken right before, I believe, we were about to load up in our tubes and head down the river. And just a little sneak peek into this day, and a memory that I'm going to fondly hold on to for many years, is that during this trip, one of our focuses was to be where our feet were, was to put our phones away. We weren't going to be on our phones. We're going to actually listen to the radio in the car ride. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to tell stories. We're going to sing along. And the entire day, our phones were off. They're in our book bags. They're in the trunk. And it was a time to unplug and get away and to enjoy each other. And this trip was taken right as the fate of our football season was being decided. We didn't know at this point if we were going to have a season. We didn't know if maybe this was going to be the last trip that we had together as a leadership group. We didn't know if we were going to have another practice and to be able to be in pursuit of a District 10 championship. When we got back from our trip, thankfully safely, I might add, the boys went up to the locker room and they began to change, and that was the first time they took out their phones. And as Coach Letty and Coach Trezona and I were standing there sort of recapping our trip, you heard the boys break out into screams of joy and enthusiasm as the announcement was made that our season was going to be delayed, but we were still going to have a season. Actually, I think I should clarify that the decision was that we were just going to delay the decision. But the joy in the kids' faces, the joy that to get the news that it wasn't over, that we might still get the opportunity to be a team, what a special moment that was. And to see the smiles on their faces as we were able to continue our quest and come back to practice in pursuit of District 10 championships. What a special moment that was. I'm sure this one will put a smile on some of your faces. And there's Dylan Winger and John Hake live and in person. And Dylan's just battled injuries these last few years. And right now, coming back from a knee injury, got to talk to him yesterday. Dylan, glad to see that you're doing better. Back on the road to recovery. Can't wait to get you back on the field, buddy. But as you think of a lineman, Dylan is an offensive lineman and a middle linebacker. And if you were to think of a lineman's dream, linemen dream about the opportunity to pick up a football and to score. And as Coach Trezona donated this memory to our presentation today, you can't help but think about the Sharon game, our first game at Sharon. And late in the game, Luciano Trezona comes off the edge. He sacks the quarterback and he forces a fumble. And there lays the ball laying on the grass in the middle of Tiger Stadium. And I'm sure that Dylan has thought about this moment for a long time, to be able to pick up the ball and score. And we even do a drill weekly of scoop and score. And we have a term for a country ball. A country ball is a fumble where there's nobody around. Pick it up and score. If there's a city ball, that means that there's clutter. To get us a possession, just get on the ball and fall on it. Well, let's take a look at that ball. There it lies on about the 6-yard line. Dylan is the definition of a country ball right there. And you can just imagine he's going to bend at his ankles, his knees, his hips. He's going to drag his knuckles. He's going to pick up that ball and score and celebrate with his teammates. And shortly after this, ladies and gentlemen, he falls on it and recovers the fumble. And as you could hear the sideline, oh, Dylan. And he comes over with a big old smile on his face. But what a funny memory and what a good memory to think about right there. And Dylan, I'm sure you appreciate that. Oh my goodness, one that I'm sure is going to come up more than a few times next football season. Here's a memory donated by Coach Homan, and this is a picture taken right before our District 10 championship game against Hickory, third time around. As Sunday during game planning, we get an emails. We sat in the field house. Some of us were at home on a virtual meeting. We get the notice that our school was going to be suspended for 3 days, and it was going to go virtual. And during that time, we couldn't have practice. And one of our core values is attitude. And we want to create a culture of solution makers, not a culture of excuse makers. And we realize that we're not going to have school. We're not going to have practice. There's nothing we can do about that. And we're not going to complain about it. We're going to find a way to make lemonade out of the lemons that we've been given. And Coach Homan describes, just so impressed with the professionalism of our kids. Parents, to watch your kids hop on a computer for practice 2 hours a night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to go through meetings as if we were on the field, to go through installs, to be present, to be focused on one of our biggest games of the season that was coming up that Saturday, as it turned out. We were just so proud of the kids, and what a crazy time. And honestly, not once did you hear one of the players say, "Oh, but we didn't get to practice." There were no excuses. And we got back to practice on Thursday and Friday, and we had 2 of the best practices of the season. And we head out to the District 10 championship game, falling short on the score. But boys, you played one of your best games of the football season. And what a lot of people don't get to witness is your work ethic, is your positive attitude, and how you were locked in and focused that week when you had every opportunity to become detached from the process. Wow, that was quite a memorable week for sure. We're talking about practice. You might remember this rant from Allen Iverson. Players, you heard this in 8th grade as I shared it with you in class one day. And Coach Warner donates this memory to our memory bank as he thinks about a summer practice where we ended up canceling our practice because we wanted to be safe. We wanted to make sure that there was no exposure. We canceled a summer practice. And usually we're talking about practice, like are kids typically, normal kids, looking forward to practice? And our kids were. They were looking forward to practice, and they were looking forward to that time out of the house, and they were looking forward to being together. And as that practice was canceled and we stayed home, maybe in hindsight, not the smartest thing, but I tell you what, it really shows how dedicated these young men and women were, and it shows how much they love each other. They decided, no, practice isn't canceled. We're going to practice anyway. And a large group of them went through and had their summer practice without the coaches there and without us really even knowing. And as I found that out, we just shook our heads and laughed and thought how fortunate we were and what a great representation of the kind of attitude that this team possessed. Here's a memory of unselfishness and a memory of caring about each other, donated by Coach Resner. And our 2 running backs at the varsity level, Curtis Hovis and Anthony Nemec, would rotate throughout the game, try to get fresh legs in there as much as we can. This particular memory came from Slipper Rock our first time around. And it was late in the second half, and we were driving down the field. And at that point, Anthony is in the game, and he's running the ball, and he's doing a great job. And we call a timeout, and we come to the sideline, and Coach Resner looks over at Kurt, and he says, "Kurt, you ready to go in?" Kurt says, "No, Coach. Anthony deserves this. Leave him in." And Anthony stays in the game. A couple plays later, he breaks one for a touchdown. And if you know Anthony, he is not always much of a talker. And it's been a real pleasure to watch Anthony begin to open up a little bit as you see the kind of competitor that he is. And Anthony comes running over to the sideline, fired up, and he has this big old smile on his face, which you don't get to see a lot of times. And the first thing that he did is he comes over to Curtis, says, "Thanks, Kurt." And you watch them embrace each other. And what a special moment. What a special moment that not a lot of us get to see. And it speaks to the unselfishness of this team and how they care about each other. In a final memory, I think Jake Arnold is on vacation right now in Florida. Hopefully you're able to join us. This memory has to do with you, Jacob. And I just put this up here as a reminder to myself that I want to share this. So you're not off the hook yet. So we're going to get to this memory in just a few minutes. And we wanted to share those with you parents and viewers today, because we talk about the game in football and how important it is. And oftentimes it's not the game itself that's important. It's what the game allows us to do and to create some of those memories that we get to have. I know when I think about 2020, I'm not going to wish it away. I'm going to be thankful that we had those memories and we got a chance to spend those together. Our next part of our banquet today is going to go on to our junior varsity team, and Coach Resner has a short presentation for us. And to our JV team, we take a lot of pride in our JV program, and it is not by any stretch of the imagination just junior varsity football. It's Grove City football, and that's part of our development as you work your way through the ranks of our football program. And it is super valuable, super important to us in the development of our players and team. And what a tremendous JV season we had this year. What a tremendous amount of growth from our young players and freshmen. I'm speaking to you directly because it's not always easy to be a freshman. And I want you to understand how well you guys did this year. Wow. The amount of growth, the amount of maturity, the amount of development that you all made. What a bright future we have ahead of us. Without further ado, Coach Resner.
Hi, Grove City Eagle football family. Coach Resner here. For those of you that don't know me, I coach our running backs. I'm our strength and conditioning coach. I'm our JV coach, and then I also help out with the defensive backs alongside, Coach Rizona and Coach Hellman. Before I start talking about the JV football season, I want to give a special thanks to Coach Maury for allowing me to be part of this program for my second year. I've learned so much from him and the rest of the coaches, and this is something that I always wanted to do. I played under Coach Maury and Coach Warner and Coach Letty during my high school football career here at Grove City. And I always told them, after my football career in college, if I'm not playing somewhere and I'm not working somewhere else, I would love to coach alongside of them. So, thank you again to Coach Maury and the rest of the coaching staff for allowing me to be part of it. They're all guys that I look up to, and they've always been, a role model type figure to me, and I appreciate them so much. And I have fun coaching alongside of them. I also want to thank my fiance and my family for allowing me to do what I love, which is, help coach these young student athletes achieve their goals, on the football field and outside the football field as well. As a player, sometimes you don't realize how much time these coaches put into the game until you're actually coaching. going to your full-time job and then coaching and not getting home till 8, 9 o'clock at night is tough sometimes, and it's something I didn't realize. Getting into this, how much time you need to put in if you want your team to be successful. So thank you to my family, my fiance again, for allowing me to do what I love and being so supportive um, with me coaching. So going into the JV football season, I want to start off by saying thank you to the parents. It was awesome to see how well you guys traveled from game to game and looking up in the stands and hearing you guys screaming and yelling and cheering on. I know I appreciated it, and the boys did as well. And also thank you guys for being so supportive and so patient with some of my play calling, especially on the offensive side of the ball. There's a joke in the coach's office a little bit that Coach Resner likes to throw the ball a little bit too much. So thank you, parents, again for like I said, being so patient, so supportive. But not only to myself, but the kids as well. So when I think about the JV football season, I just think of wow, what a year, and wow, what a year in a good way. And that's because of the type of kids we had on the field and on the team. These kids, I'll talk about and go through the list of the names later on, but you'll notice a lot of these kids played on Friday night, and we asked some of them to play on Saturday too. So it's not easy playing a whole game on Friday and then come and play in another game on Saturday in the morning at 8 a.m. It's tough. But the kids showed up with a smile on their face, didn't ask questions. They just went out there and they played hard. They competed, and that's all you can ask for as a JV coach, and a coach in general. And that's just going to help them later on in life, whether they decide to go to college or in the workforce right away. Having that positive attitude and that work ethic is going to be, is going to be so beneficial for them. And then also, as a JV coach, obviously you want to win football games, but your overall goal is you want to help them. You want to help prepare these kids to play at the varsity level. Um, and looking at this past season, there's not one kid on this JV roster that I don't think, maybe not next year, but the year after can definitely play at that level. And that's just because of, like I talked about and touched on before, their attitude and their work ethic, and their willingness to do whatever the coach asks of them. There's sometimes going from week to week, we didn't know who was going to play what position. But like I said, the kids didn't ask questions. They just said, let's go win, let's go compete. And because of that, we won a lot of football games this past season. One highlight and one memory that sticks out to me. I think it was week 2 or week 3, early on in the year, when we played Hickory at home. We got it handed to us. We got it handed to us a little bit, and we lost, by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And you know what? The kids didn't put their heads down. They came out that next week. They competed on the scout team. They got better. They got better at the varsity football game as well. And then they showed up, later on week to week and got better. And when we played Hickory later on in the season, we turned the tables a little bit, and we ended up beating them by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And, it was awesome to see the kids' faces after the game. Um, how happy they were and how excited they were, and it was because of their work ethic and their attitude, and they stuck with it. And it made me so happy as a coach, and I know it made the rest of the coaching staff happy as well, and as well as the parents, seeing that hard work pay off. So that being said, I'm going to go through our JV roster, and thank you guys so much. I had a great time coaching you. Y'all were a blast and fun to be around with, and for those that are going to be coming out for football next season, I'm excited to coach you guys again. So I'm going to go through the list now. Josiah McElwain, Jacob Arnold, Nathan Boyd, Jeremiah McElwain, Hayden McCready, Bodie Stevenson, Isaac River, Colton Castile, Trey Resner, Luciano Trezona, Colin Jackson, Eric Kearns, Dom Garzarelli, David Gold, Nathan Stanton, Thomas Rogers, Dylan Ahern, Tyson Matheny, James Byler, Kyle Ensko, Mason Ryber, Zach McCarl, Adon Navarro, Corey Medvey, Marcello Trezona, Zach King, Madison Warner, Anthony Davis. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, had a blast coaching you. Hope you guys are all safe, and can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you.
And thank you, Coach Resner. That was great. And again, to our JV season, what a tremendous season and a tremendous amount of growth this year. Our next portion today is going to be the announcement of our varsity letters. Now, many of you players stopped by yesterday to pick up your gifts. And again, thanks to everybody that was involved in that. Those are gifts from our booster program. Your varsity letters, your plaques, those things are going to be distributed in school by Mr. Young, probably not this coming week, but definitely by the week after. So be on the lookout and listening for that announcement. And as we talk about our varsity letters, our requirements to earn a varsity letter are that you have to appear in half of the quarters of the season, a play during a game in a quarter that constitutes as a quarter showed up or being a part of, maintain a 71% grade point average, and no more than 3 unexcused absences throughout the season. And an unexcused absence in our program is defined as an absence where the player doesn't contact one of us. One of the things that we are trying that we continue to try and teach is accountability, and our kids just do a great job of, if they're sick, if something wasn't right and they had to stay home, to make sure that they reach out and they communicate and let us know what's going on. So to our varsity letters now, Jacob Arnold, I'm going to share this little memory that is a fond memory in the 2020 season in memory bank. And a reminder of what that Grove City patch means on that jacket. At the end of the season, we had our postseason meetings, and we met with all the players and just talked a little bit about the season and reflection and thinking back to things that maybe we could change, we could do better, what you enjoyed about the season, those types of things at the end of the season. And during my interview with Jacob, I experienced just one of the best moments in our 2020 season, as I talked to Jacob about his goals. What are things that he wants to accomplish, and one of his goals in the future is he wants to score a varsity touchdown. And I think that's coming, Jacob. Let's keep working toward that. I can't wait to see you accomplish it. And another goal that he had on his list is he really wanted to earn a varsity letter. And at the end of talking about his goals, I said, Jake, well, to earn a varsity letter, you have to have a 71% GPA, and you did that. I said, Jake, you have to have, you can't have any more than 3 unexcused absences, and you didn't. And you have to show up in at least half of the quarters of the season, and you did that as well. So Jacob, congratulations. You can cross that goal off your list. You earned your varsity letter. And Jake immediately broke out in cheers and woo, and he's screaming in his room. And it filled my heart with joy and brought a tear to my eye, because sometimes as an adult, you think, oh, it's just a patch. Well, that patch represents the hard work, the hard work and effort that goes into earning that varsity letter, and how much it means to our student athletes. So congratulations to everybody that lettered this year. I think we had 26 varsity lettermen. Congratulations. First year letterman, Dylan Ahern. Jamie Amadei. Jacob Arnold. Hunter Homan. Gavin Lutz. Corey Medvey. Trey Resner. Tommy Rogers. Luciano Trezona. Madison Warner. Congratulations to our first-year letterman in women. Second-year letterman, Jacob Blair. Nathan Boyd. Cole Hammerman. Hayden McCready. Max Myford. Anthony Nemec. Anthony Pereira. Zach Rogers. Nate Wadsworth. Dylan Winger. On to our third-year letterman, Logan Brees. Gage Dugonski, always ready for a picture. John Hake. Curtis Huvis. Zach Martin. And to our fourth-year letterman, Matthew Howard. Congratulations to all of you. That is a great accomplishment. We're so proud of you. And here's a little round of applause. Oh, quiet down, quiet down. You guys are great. I tell you what. Congratulations to our letterman. Our next segment, we would like to recognize our all-region honors, and this is something that we are going to take just a few minutes and to recognize our players that made all-region. And to be an all-region player, you're voted on by our region coaches that demonstrate extraordinary play on Friday nights. And this is something that we honestly don't like to highlight in terms of individual awards, because as we said earlier, each of us needs all of us. And I think every player that has earned first team or second team all region winners, they would be the first kids to recognize their teammates and everything that their teammates did to help them accomplish those goals. So to our all region players, congratulations. First team all region on offense, Curtis Huvis at the running back position, Anthony Pereira, first team wide receiver, and Matthew Howard, first team offensive lineman. Great job, man. On the defensive side of the ball, Matthew Howard on the D line, Nate Wadsworth on the defensive line, Zach Martin, first team linebacker, and John Hake, first team punter. Congratulations, men. Well-deserved honor. Great job this year. Second team all region, like to identify on offense, quarterback Logan Brees, tight end Zach Martin, offensive line Gage Duganski, and Nate Wadsworth. On the defensive side of the ball, second team all region, defensive line Cole Hammerman, at linebacker Anthony Nemec, at defensive back Hayden McCready, and an other defensive back Gavin Lutz. To all of our all-region players, first team and second team, congratulations. Great job, guys. And on to our academic awards. And as Coach Homan presents these awards, he's also going to talk about the adjustment that we made this year. And one of the things that we always want to do is make sure that we're improving. And just because something has been done one way for so long doesn't mean that that's always the right or the best way. And one of the things that we wanted to do with our academic awards is not award just the top GPA per class, but to award every student athlete that earned a 91% or above an A average for the first 9 weeks. Because that is not an easy feat, especially this year, and balancing all of our new schedules and virtual learning and in-person learning and balancing football practice on time of that. A student athlete is being pulled in many different directions, and we want to make sure that academics is at the forefront. So on to our presentation. Thank you, Coach Homan.
Hello, GC football family. This is Coach Homan here. And before I talk about our academic achievements, I just want to take a few minutes to recognize a couple people. First, I would like to recognize and say thanks to my wife, Kim. Kim, you've been such a rock in this family, just with the simple logistics of getting kids to and from practice, balancing out multiple schedules, competing with the demands of football and me and, even Hunter going to football practice and trying to balance all that stuff out. You've just done a phenomenal job of keeping things together and holding the fort down. And I couldn't ask for anything better than that. And I truly appreciate your support and all that you do, within the family and even outside of the family, and the things that you're doing to support the community too as well. So Kim, I really appreciate it and thank you. Next person I'd like to thank is Coach Mowry. Coach, it's been a privilege to coach at GC, to say the least. The opportunity that I was afforded, a few years back, just some of the philosophies that you and I went and talked over, and just to be a part of this staff and seeing how this staff has grown over the last few years, and some of the things that have been implemented over the last few years has been amazing. We have a staff who's extremely football savvy, football smart, but not only are they that, these are people with really high integrity, good character, great sense of humor. I mean, there's a lot of banter, a lot of brotherhood that goes into it. And, when we're talking about the times before practice and we poke fun at each other, I mean, those are the times that I remember. And, it's great to be a part of a staff that shows that affection and shows that care for each other. I mean, that's really where our secret sauce is. And you've created that culture over the last, 5 or 6 years. So Coach, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this family and to help influence our young student athletes. So about the academic achievements. In years past, we had recognized our two highest GPA recipients. And we felt like this year, we needed to broaden that search a little bit more. We needed to broaden that base because there are others that, that are working just as hard, maybe not at that top 2 level, but they're working just as hard. And so this Academic Achievement Award is going to represent any individual who has a 91% or better average for the first 9 weeks. Now, when we think about that, okay, and we have 47 rostered individuals, when you start putting numbers together, you're starting to think about that 47. How many individuals out of 47 do we really think get to that, that level? I mean, I started thinking and I thought, like 8. 8's a strong number. I mean, that's a very good number. It's like 17% or so. So you think like 8, that's a good number to have our team, average 91%. And then Coach shares the list, and I was floored. Like I was actually floored with the data. And 16 kids met that qualification. So we're talking 34% of all our rostered athletes carried an A average in the first 9 weeks. Think about that. Let that sink in for 2 seconds. Okay. So we have practice, we have lifting, we have films, we have JV, we have so many different moving parts. We have 34% of our kids average 91% or better. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So, I'm preparing for this, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what other coaches that are out there who exemplify that scholar athlete, that student athlete type. And I started researching like Coach K from Duke or John Wooden, Coach Mahalik, was really big in academics as well. And a couple things that hit me, that were consistent common denominators were commitment and discipline. Okay, so you think about the commitment and discipline it takes in order to make sure that you're above a 91%. And I think like even, I know Zach Martin's on this list, but Zach had, I think that there was one point where I don't think he had a point deducted. I think he was at like 100% 4 or 5 weeks into the season. That's something that stuck with me. I was pretty floored. Another thing, the one quote that gets me is Tom Brands, who is he's the head coach at Iowa. And he had quoted that says, "The only thing you deserve is what you earn." Okay. Let's think about this for a second. We have 16 kids that earned a 91%. They deserve to be recognized. They absolutely deserve to be recognized. Congratulations to you 16. You have definitely earned this award. There is no question about it. I couldn't be prouder of 16 individuals. Just such a great achievement. Here's the list of our student athletes who earned the Academic Achievement Award. Jacob Blair, Gage Jaglonski, John Hake, Hunter Homan, Curtis Hovis, Matt Howard, Gavin Lutz, Zach Martin, Hayden McCready, Corey Medvey, Jordan Medvey, Anthony Nemec, Zach Rogers, Marcello Trezona, Nate Wadsworth, and Madison Warner. The only thing you get is what you earn. Okay? You've earned it. Now I can say, moving on, when you are moving on to your college and beyond into your life, continue to carry with you the discipline and the commitment that you exemplified here. That will carry you far beyond anything else. For those who have this rest of this year and the rest of your high school career, continue to carry that with you. Okay, you're going to realize that when you start coming to the end of your high school career, these grades will allow those doors to open pretty widely. You're going to have options beyond options. Okay. And you, to those who are consistently doing that, we are very proud of what you've been doing and where you're going. Thank you. Thank you for that time, energy, and effort that you're putting into not only your athletics, but your academics. This was definitely a well-deserved award. Congratulations to everybody.
Nicely done, Coach Homan. And wow, great job, men. Again, let's recognize those 16 players that earned a 91% or higher. Jacob Blair at a 91% overall. Gage Degonsky at a 91% overall. John Hake at a 94%. Hunter Homan at a 91%. Curtis Hovis at a 98%. And I have to apologize for Curtis because this was the award that I messed up last year, and Curtis was the winner of that award. And Corey Medvey, I think I did that to you the year before. So sorry about that. Matthew Howard at 91%. Gavin Lutz at 92%. Zach Martin at 95%. Hayden McCready at 91%. Corey Medvey at 92%. Jordan Medvey at 91%. Anthony Nemec, 91%. Zach Rogers, 91%. Marcello Trezona, 97%. Nate Wadsworth, 92%. And Madison Warner, 91%. Congratulations, everyone. What a great accomplishment that is. And next, on to our leadership program and our team captains, as Coach Letty is going to take this segment and make sure to acknowledge those members of our leadership program, its purpose, and this year's team captains.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dwayne Letty, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing tonight a special group from our 2020 football team, our leadership team, and our 2020 season captains. I've been coaching here in Grove City for about 10 years, and when I first had the chance to meet and get to know and work with our group of seniors who we're honoring here tonight, they were just little 12-year-olds in 7th grade reading class, and looking back now on the time that has passed, that makes me feel really old. Don't be laughing, Zach. I can hear you from here. But it's funny how fast that time goes by, and I think that's an incredibly important lesson, and one that I especially took away from this particular season. I think we all have heard people say this past year, I can't wait until 2020 is over. But as I look back on our football season, I think about the lessons that these young men taught not only each other, but us coaches as well. I think one of the most important lessons we can take away is that what a shame it would be to wish away time, and how we have to take advantage of every opportunity we're given and enjoy every moment that we're given to be with our friends, with our team, with our families. And this team certainly took advantage of that this season, with all the obstacles, all the ups and downs, with all the adversity that they had to face throughout the season. They took each of those in stride and looked at each day as an opportunity, embraced each day with joy and enthusiasm, and something that, maybe we take for granted in other seasons where we don't face that kind of adversity. And that's a really hard thing for especially a group of young men to do, which makes it all the more impressive. And that takes great leadership from a group to have that focus and that determination, and to keep moving forward and embracing each new challenge as an opportunity instead of a setback. And it is without a doubt that the 2020 football team had great leadership from not only our seniors, but our leadership team and our captains. And it is for that reason that I'm so glad to be able to share a little bit of their story here with you tonight. Our leadership team is comprised of a group of juniors and seniors who volunteer to be a part of a 10-week training program that allows them not only to be eligible to be captain at the end of the program, but also hopefully is an opportunity for them to grow not only as a person, but as a leader, and to take the skills that they learn with them beyond our program. And the program entails these things that you see listed there: a 10-week book study that the coaches and players undergo together. Each week we meet and we discuss things like leadership, character, composure, being an encourager, all skills that not only apply on the football field, but things that hopefully these student athletes will be able to take with them in their life beyond football. After that, beyond that, and during that, throughout the summer, each of the candidates also has to interview every single one of their teammates as a part of building relationships on the team. We try to participate in community service as often as we possibly can. In the past, we've worked with United Way in their Day of Caring. We've volunteered at the food pantry, doing food drives and things of that nature. This year, I had the opportunity to stand in the freezing cold with a few of our players for a few hours as we rang the bell for the Salvation Army out in front of County Market. And what a great opportunity to represent our program for the community, getting to talk to people coming in and out of the building about Eagles football, and what a great community we have that supports us, and we're always glad to be able to give back in those kinds of situations. Each student also undergoes an academic and teacher evaluation, and at the end of the program, each candidate must interview for the position of captain. It's a formal sit-down interview in the coach's office. We have some great conversations, and what great experience for the students. But we believe this program is a part of the foundation of that vision that Coach Mowry talked about earlier tonight. When this program started, it was started with two sort of goals in mind. Number one, we wanted to make sure that our program was about more than just winning football games. We wanted to make sure that we were building men of integrity. We wanted to make sure that we were preparing these student athletes for this next step beyond football and going into their lives. We wanted to prepare them for the tasks that would be coming throughout the season. You know, instead of complaining about not having great leadership on a team, we hope this program prepares our students to become those leaders that are required not only in football, but later in life with their families and their jobs and in our communities. And the second part of that was developing a meaningful title and giving meaning to the title of team captain, knowing that the person who was voted team captain after going through this program was a person who was prepared to take on those challenges of leadership throughout a football season. And so we truly believe that this leadership program is one of the most important parts of our football program. It's also one of the most rewarding parts as coaches, getting to see our student athletes, our young men and women, Maddie, growing up throughout the summer, growing together as a group, and then really forming the team. It's one of my favorite parts of our season, to be certain. But it's also the foundation of our program, like I said, and this is just the first part, developing those character traits to build men of integrity, as our vision statement clearly says. And then the second part is cultivating those meaningful relationships, building those relationships that hopefully will last forever. We do all kinds of activities at our weekly meetings. You can see here our cornhole tournament that we held throughout the year. I believe Johnny Hake and Maddie Warner were our cornhole champions on that day. It was a lot of fun before a summer practice, but also more serious things and opportunities for our students athletes to use some of the skills we're using. In the summer, our group spoke to our middle school and underclassmen about the challenges of football season, but also about school and other important things, and they shared their experiences. And I thought that was a great opportunity for them to get to use some of those leadership skills, and they did a great job. We were very, very proud of them. We also do some challenging activities. So we spend a night at Coach Homan's. Thankful to the Homans for welcoming us to their home, and the boys were challenged to build a boat, as you can see here, out of nothing but cardboard and duct tape and some other odd materials. And that night it rained. It poured and rained on us. But we made the most of that opportunity and had a lot of fun doing it. As you can see, Gage always flexing. Our winners that night of the Build a Boat Challenge, believe it or not, we only had one boat that actually floated. That was Josiah, Matt, and Jacob's boat. They were the Build a Boat champions, although Johnny didn't let his spirits get down at all. He embraced the challenge and had that never lose attitude, celebrating his team's great boat. I'm not sure what I think those were flippers he was wearing there that were supposed to help him propel the boat. I don't remember that working out incredibly well. I'm not sure what the unicorn hat is supposed to be about, but it was a fun time for all of us. And that was just a small part of building the relationships that hopefully these boys will remember and will be important to them for the rest of their lives. Then at the end of the year, we always participate in some sort of big trip. Last year, our seniors went to a ropes course and took on the heights of a high ropes course and a zip lining course, had to overcome their fears. Corey Medvey was our first brave eagle to soar up to the heights. He kind of broke the ice for the rest of the group last year. This summer, we went to a whitewater rafting trip, which always gives Coach Mowry and I heart palpitations as we prepare to head out on that trip, taking the boys down the Youghiogheny River. But this year was as successful as any, and this is just as much a part of our building our vision as any other. These are memories that will hopefully last a lifetime. I certainly will never forget pulling Zach Rogers out of the water. I think Corey and Max were there with me as a water snake was zooming across the top of the water in his direction. That was definitely a memory that I think all three of us will certainly remember for a long time. And so the program has been a tremendous part of our football team, and I'm so grateful and glad to get to work with these men and Maddie, and I can certainly certify that they are a group of men and women of integrity who are prepared to not only lead our football team, but to be great leaders moving into the future. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce that group to you. The juniors of our leadership here in 2020 were Jacob Blair, Gage Dugonski, John Hake, Cole Hammerman, Curtis Hubbis, Eric Kearns, Josiah McElwain, Anthony Pereira, Zach Rogers, Luciano Trezona, Nathan Wadsworth, Madison Warner, and Dylan Winger. Our senior members of the leadership team were James Amadei, Logan Brees, Matthew Howard, Zach Martin, Corey Medvey, and Max Myford. And from that group, the team and coaches voted on our team captains for the 2020 year. And I'd like to congratulate and thank for their leadership our 5 team captains of the 2020 football season. Seniors, Logan Brees, Matt Howard, who is a 2-time captain, Zach Martin, and our juniors, Curtis Hubbis and Zach Rogers. Thank you, men. It has been a pleasure and certainly an experience that I will never forget. Soar.
Great job, Coach. A lot of memories there in that leadership program, and to our members of our leadership program this year, thank you guys. That was obviously we had to make a lot of adaptations and changes throughout the year, but that was a great time and a lot of memories.
Good evening, everyone.
Whoops. And on to our hard hat winners. So we're gonna hand this off to Coach Allen, and Coach Allen has put together a nice spiffy presentation to honor and recognize our 2020 Hard Hat winners. Thank you, Coach.
Hi, everyone. This is Coach Allen. I want to talk about the Hard Hat Award. This award is probably, in my opinion, the most prestigious award you could receive as a Grove City Eagle football player. This award is given out from the beginning of summer workouts, through mini-camp, through two-a-days, through our scrimmages, throughout the regular season and postseason, once a week, to the teammates, to that person on the team that exemplifies our vision and our values. So our vision is this, it's SOAR, S-O-A-R, sacrifice will be required, do your job, only you control your attitude and effort, no BCD, always together, united we win, and relentless in the pursuit of excellence, compete in everything we do. And our values are these, attitude, no BCD, no blaming, complaining, or defending. Effort, we want to give 6 seconds of effort on every play, compete in everything we do. We want to win every rep, not just on game night, but on every practice day and every film session, every time in the weight room. And finally, sacrifice. Sacrifice will be required. Do your job. Every day, whether it's in the weight room, in the film room, or on the practice field, we expect our players to display the attributes of our vision and values. We had many kids win the award this year. So without further ado, here are our Hard Hat Award winners. Trey Resner, John Haig, Gavin Lutz, Hunter Homan, Jacob Blair, Isaac Ryber, Max Meifert, Langdon Ferguson, Nathan Boyd, Cole Hammerman, Anthony Nemec, Anthony Pereira, Marcello Trezona, Jacob Arnold, Nate Wadsworth, Madison Warner, Zach McCarl, Zach Rogers, Luciano Trezona, Dylan Ahern, and a two-time winner this year, Zach Martin. So congratulations to these 19 players who won the award for 20 weeks throughout the summer and fall for the effort that you guys put in that was noticed by your coaching staff and your teammates around you. You guys, everybody on this team, faced challenges that a year and a half ago we would have thought were crazy, but you guys overcame. You worked hard, you didn't complain, and you did things that no other Eagle team has ever had to do. Great season, 2020, looking forward to 2021, and let's continue to soar. Hi.
Great job, Coach Allen, and great job to our Hard Hat Award winners. In alphabetical order, as Coach mentioned, sophomore Dylan Ahern, Jake Arnold, Jacob Blair, Nate Boyd, John Hake, Cole Hammerman, Hunter Homan, Gavin Lutz, Zach Martin, 2 times, Zach McCarl, Max Meifert, Anthony Nemec, Anthony Pereira, Isaac Ryber, Trey Resner, Zach Rogers, Luciano Trezona, Marcello Trezona, Nate Wadsworth, and Madison Warner. And the crowd goes wild. Great job, everybody. Congratulations. And on to our next segment, our Jigs Wolford Award winner that is voted on by our players and coaches to a senior player that exemplifies positive citizenship. Coach Trezona, take it away.
Hello, I'm Coach Trezona, and I'm here to present the Jigs Wolford Award. On October 19th, 1935, in a game against Sharon at Forker Field, Jigs collapsed and died of a heart attack while blocking for a teammate. The school decided to create an award in his honor that goes to a senior athlete representing the ideals of community, leadership, and sacrifice. This award is important because it's voted on by the players and coaches. The 2020 Jigs Wolford Award goes to Matthew Howard. In a difficult offseason, Matt also had to deal with an injury that limited his activities. However, Matt continued to show his dedication and sacrifice to the team by being at workouts and pushing others to work hard. While Matt shows great leadership on the field, it's important to note what he does for the younger kids. You can always hear Matt on Saturdays and in practice, encouraging them to do their best and making the sacrifice to get players to and from practice. Your 2020 Jigs Wolford Award winner, Matthew Howard. Congratulations. Hello, I'm Coach Zona, and I'm here to present the Jigs Wolford Award.
Congratulations, Matthew. An honor well deserved. Our 2020 Jigs Award winner. And finally, as we near the end of our 2020 banquet, on to our senior recognition. And as we honor our small but mighty group of 2020 seniors, this picture just fills our hearts with joy as we look at your last stroll down Forker Field, thinking about the memories and maybe shedding a few tears and smiles and laughter along the way. As I think about our seniors, we go right to our football vision, to build men of integrity. And football is a special game for so many reasons. And again, not necessarily because of the game itself, but of the things that we learn and we can take with us. And we've talked about so many memories that we've had here. And always when you think about any sports, you know, you think about the time that you put in and you think about the work that you put in and at the end of the day, you know, sometimes you think about playing time and you think about you know, how many snaps you get or how many seconds you get on the field or whatever the case may be. And I think it's important to point out that our vision doesn't start with we value our seniors because of how good of football players they are. We value our seniors because of what they do on a football field on a Friday night. That's not what our vision is, and we're going to stand by that. And sometimes that can be tough. Sometimes that's tough for kids to understand. But what great lessons are held in there. Sometimes it's tough for parents to understand. But our vision is to build men of integrity. You look at those 6 seniors on your screen right there, and those are 6 seniors that exemplify our vision. Men of integrity. They've developed meaningful relationships. They've made memories that some of them are going to share with you guys that are going to last a lifetime in pursuit of District 10 championships and beyond. And the beautiful thing about a vision is that it doesn't end. These young men have finished up one chapter of their lives, and those football pads might be hung up forever, maybe for just another year as some of them pursue college football. But those memories are going to stand with them forever. And those lessons are going to stay with them forever. And our hope is that when these 6 seniors look back at their time in our program, that they're going to smile, that they're going to have some laughs, and that they're going to be able to take with them some many lessons to help them in their next endeavor in life. And as I look at these seniors, and oftentimes we talk about their legacy and what they're going to pass on. And again, it has nothing to do with the kind of football players they are. Every single story that I'm going to share with everybody here are stories about the kind of young men that these guys are. And the lessons that our underclassmen can learn from this group of seniors. So for each of our seniors, I'm just going to share a quick lesson that I think they demonstrate and that can be something that can be learned from our underclassmen. Is we start with Jamie Amadei. We're going to talk about courage, and it's a tough thing sometimes to work and to be a part of a team, and sometimes like we just talked about earlier, when you see how many snaps you get on Friday, it's easy to get discouraged. But there's one thing about Jamie that I'm going to point out is the fact that he came to practice every day with a positive attitude. That takes courage. He came to workouts over the summer with a great attitude. That takes courage. It takes courage to come to practice, to come to games, to be a part of a football family when maybe you don't see that kind of game experience on a Friday night. But that doesn't matter. Many people would hang it up. Many people would call it quits. Many people would decide that it's not worth it. But what does that teach you? And how are you going to be successful? And Jamie Amadei is better equipped for future success. And the courage that he demonstrated this year is courage that we admire him for. Jamie, we're proud of you. Great job this year. And that lesson of courage is a lesson that can be passed on to our underclassmen. Great job, Jamie. To our next senior, as we talk about Logan Brees, and a lesson that we think Logan demonstrated, and a legacy that he's going to be passed on is one of positive communication. One thing, if you ever stick around and you watch practice and you watch these kids interact with each other, that Logan was constantly teaching. He was constantly pulling teammates aside, constantly picking teammates up, constantly encouraging and bringing and pulling people up. And what a great example of a vocal leader. Many times people think of vocal leadership and they think of people that are screaming and yelling and leading cheers, and that isn't always vocal leadership. That's one kind. But I far prefer the vocal leadership that Logan exhibited and the love that he showed for his teammates. And a couple stories that I want to share that demonstrates Logan's positive attitude and the way he communicates with his teammates. I'm going to start with a funny one, Logan. I'm going to end with a serious one. And the funny one took place this summer in our leadership program. Coach Letty just showed you pictures of a cornhole tournament that we had before practice one evening. And that cornhole tournament was a lesson that was based on vocal leadership. And you know, things that we try to incorporate into these lessons are core values. So we were talking about competing. Like, even if we're playing cornhole, we want to compete. We want to compete in everything we do. We don't want to have an attitude of we're too cool to do this. So we compete, and that cornhole tournament was quite a vicious tournament. And during that tournament, we would stop and we would pull somebody's name out of a hat, and we'd give them a situation, and they would have to speak to the team, maybe pump the team up, maybe refocus, whatever the situation was. And during this cornhole tournament, I think Logan's team was down to the semifinals. It was a tight game. And I think it was 16-16. And Logan throws his bean bags and he breaks out in exhilaration. We won! We won! There it is! 16 plus 4, 21. We won! And all of us sit there and we turn and we look at each other and we all just bust up laughing. And Logan is dead serious. And he looks at us. What? 16 plus 4, Logan, is not 21. But an example of your enthusiasm, an example of your positive communication. And on a more serious note, think back to an example at practice one evening, and we were breaking the team up, and Logan, our starting quarterback, does a great job. Second team all region, all Big 22, all these awards, all these statistics. I said, Logan, you're going to go down with the ninth graders, with our third team right now. Why don't you go down and run reps with them? And a lesser man would pout, would put his head down. Why, coach? Why? Logan ran down to the other end. And I watched and listened to him as he coached his teammates and he encouraged the younger kids. And boy, to me, that's something special. You talk about sacrifice. You're talking about loving your teammates and the players around you. Logan Brees did that, and his example of positive communication is one that should be passed down to our underclassmen. Great job, Logan. Matthew Howard. Matthew, a two-time team captain, and obviously he was a tremendous football player, but that's not the important stuff. One of the lessons that I think the underclassmen can learn from Matthew Howard is accountability. And Matthew has a rare kind of way to relate to his teammates. When Matt talks, teammates listen. And he understands how to relate to different kinds of players. You'll watch him talk to one teammate one way and another teammate another way. And he's learned the nuances of you can't treat everybody the same. And Matt has the unique capability of being a fierce competitor between the lines, but at the same time, knowing the right time to crack a joke and lighten the mood. Leadership skills that are far beyond his years. And one of the things that we really appreciate about Matt Howard is how to hold his teammates accountable and push teammates to do better. And oftentimes that's a tough thing to do as a high school player, as a high school student, is to hold your peers accountable and be able to call them out without picking on them, be able to encourage them without berating them. And Matt could do that. And watching him care about his teammates, and sometimes he was caring in a way that others might listen to it and might say, wow, listen to him as he barks at a player to work harder, to touch the line, to finish the rep. But he knows his teammates, and he's invested in his teammates. And he is just a fantastic leader on the football field, in the classroom, and in our community. Matthew Howard and his lessons of accountability are things that are going to live on in our program for many years to come. Thank you, Matt, for everything that you do. To Zach Martin, if Zach were part of a book, this chapter would be to trust the process. And this is no slight to Zach, and we've talked about this many times. Zach was never the tallest kid. Zach was never the biggest kid. Zach is never the strongest kid or the fastest kid. But as Matt Campbell, head coach of Iowa State, stated after their bowl win, greatness isn't reserved for a chosen few. And Zach worked relentlessly to achieve greatness, not only in the football field, but in our community, in the classroom, and with his teammates. There was not a football workout that Zach was not there for, and not just present, but giving everything he had all the time. There was not an off-season get together that Zach was not a part of. Zach Martin was 100% fully invested in the program. He was fully invested in his teammates. He was fully invested to be the best player and person that he could possibly be. And with that kind of effort, the things that Zach Martin's going to achieve in the future are going to be great. To watch Zach mature as a quarterback as a freshman, to a running back as a sophomore, to a tight end as a junior and senior middle linebacker, what a great example of trusting the process and knowing that if I give every single thing that I have, then there are no regrets, regardless of what happens. What a great lesson to our underclassmen. Zach, we are so proud of you. To Corey Medvey, if there was a lesson that Corey Medvey could pass down to our underclassmen, it's going to be a lesson on how to be the ultimate teammate. Corey, you are a true example of what sacrifice stands for. You are a true example of what it means to care for the people around you, and you demonstrate that every single day. Never once did Corey complain. Never once did he make excuses, but he came to practice with a positive effort every single day. He showed his teammates every single day that he cares about them. Whenever there was someone needed, Corey Medvey was going to be the first one there to jump in and to help out and to give every ounce of effort he had all the time. It was such a memorable experience to watch Corey mature, to develop, and to blossom into the fine young man that he is today, and the things that he has accomplished on the football field with his teammates. And outside, as Corey just became an Eagle Scout. What a great accomplishment, something we're proud of. And we hope that some of these lessons that you've learned along the way helped you with that and can help you in your next step as you pick your college that you're going to attend for the next 4 years. Corey, you are a wonderful teammate. Corey, you are a great example to our underclassmen. Thank you for everything that you've poured into the Grove City program for the past 4 years. To Max Myford, a lesson that Max has passed on to our underclassmen is a lesson about being ready when opportunity knocks. And Max worked for 4 years at every workout, and not all the time did that transpire to snaps on a football field. Again, that doesn't matter. That's the least important thing. But what Max continued to do was focus on his vision, not his circumstance. And he continued to prepare as if he were a starter. And he continued to work every single day to be the best version of Max Myford that he could be. And he continued to invest in his teammates and to encourage and to be one of our better vocal leaders. You can always hear Max yelling and let's go, encouraging his teammates to be better. And Max prepared, and eventually opportunity knocked. And watching Max this season, quite honestly, fills my heart with joy. Because there is an example of a kid that continued to work, and when opportunity knocked, he was ready. And he never relinquished that position for the entire year. Max, what a fine young man you are. What a great leader you are. And as we talked during our meeting, and maybe a future career could be in the field of education for you, and I think everybody on the team right now has a big smile on their face, because I think we can all picture Max in a classroom as Mr. Myford teaching. And those kids would be lucky to have you. Max, thank you for everything. So now, as we move on to our final segment, is a time to listen to our seniors. And one of our favorite parts of our banquet is to hear from our seniors. So seniors, now's the time. You have written thank you notes to your parents. Please take a moment and give those to your parents before we show your senior speeches. And give them a big old hug and thank them for everything that they have done for you along the way. Thank you, senior parents, from the coaching staff as well. During these speeches, the hair, not on my head, I guess, but on my neck is going to stand up, because you hear speeches and lessons and things that these seniors are going to take with them, and you start to understand how important football is. And you understand that these young men get it. And you understand how we've been successful because of leadership like this. First up, Jamie Amadei.
My life in football began in third grade. My brother and I decided we wanted to play football more than anything. We were ready to start as soon as we saw our shoulder pads. Every once in a while, we would put our pads on in our practice jerseys and just sit in them. It made us feel strong and confident that in a few years we'd be signing our first NFL contracts. When that fateful first Little Eagles practice came, I hated it. I quit right after our first scrimmage a few weeks into the season. I didn't really think much about football until fifth grade when I started again and felt like this time I should stick with it. And I did, all the way through. My football story isn't one of massive success or anything like that. I was a role player. My role was to make my brothers better. If you think that doesn't sound appealing, you're right. It's not appealing, and sometimes I hated it. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with making someone else better at what they do. What I did in practice was more important than what I could do in any game. A lot of people don't understand that part of the game. I'm not selfish. I wish I would have been, at least on the football field, for the sake of playing time. More of my time was spent messing around with underclassmen than trying to make myself better. Another thing about football is it's not easy. My freshman year during two-a-days, I was frustrated. One day I got mad because I kept messing up and dropping balls. I had enough. I stormed off the field, tore my helmet off, went up to the locker room. If it weren't for my older brother and Coach Mowry helping me, my time as an Eagle would have ended that day. Every week I had thoughts like that slip into my head that I should walk away. I'm not cut out for this. But I kept going. That's one of the things I'm most proud of. Perseverance and hard work are two things that I couldn't have learned without football. These two traits are things that I need for almost every aspect of my life. When I'm old and reminiscing on the things I've done in my life, I'll think back to football and be thankful to everyone for giving me something that only happens once in a lifetime.
Thank you, Jamie. Great job. Next up is Logan Brees.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank my family for being there throughout the years and always believing in me. I'd like to thank the coaches. You guys have been a huge influence on me throughout high school and pushed me through every set and rep and turned me into the young man I am today. I'm going to miss the little things such as locker room shenanigans, leadership trips and meetings, and all the times we laughed together. In football, you may remember a big play you made in a game, but nothing compares to the memories you've made with your brothers. This program is something special. Not only has it changed my life, it's changed every kid's life who went through it. Some changed more than others, but if you're willing to make the sacrifices, the payout is much more rewarding in the end. To say the least, this year has been full of adversity. I think we can all agree there's been adversity in everyone's life in the past year or so, but honestly, nothing compares to the 2020-2021 Grove City Eagles football season. Whether it be COVID restrictions, our weekly dose of a rolled ankle, or even when you have a deadly disease in you and you don't even know it. All the setbacks and complications this year is what made it so special. This team handled changes and hardships like it was a daily thing, and that it comes from our coaches preaching to us how to handle adversity when it comes our way. Throughout life, there will be adversity at work, at home, or even with your friends. The way you choose to deal with this will have impact on the people around you, and that is what I plan to carry with me later in life. I'd also like to give a shout out to the freshmen. I had a great time with you guys this year. Our season starts with a solid scout team. Without a solid scout team, we can't get better, but that wasn't the case. You guys filled in and made us work all year. Thank you for that. I'll be watching you guys in the upcoming seasons. I'll end with a funny story. It was my freshman year at the D10 game. I forgot my mouthpiece this game, so I was given a new one that wasn't molded. At halftime, we were in the locker room, and we were given chicken broth to keep us warm. Well, mine was really hot, so I figured I could mold my mouthpiece to it. I dipped it in a few times, and it molded it to my mouth, and it worked. And Coach Mowry came in all excited because we were beating Meadville. Looked at me and said, "What's that?" I replied, "Chicken broth." Without asking, he grabbed the cup, took a sip, and I about threw up. Thought about telling him, then I was like, maybe not. It's my freshman year. I don't want him to look at me like differently, so thought I'd tell everyone at the banquet. Surprise, coach.
It was a surprise, Logan. I guess you get the last laugh. Nicely done, Logan.
First and foremost,
Oh, and on to our next one, Matthew Howard.
Fourth grade is where I learned to love the game of football for simply what it was, because it is all I knew. The game was exciting, and it was enjoyable to hit someone other than my brother for a change. As I got older, I was taught that football is way bigger than just a game. It teaches lessons that others never have the opportunity to learn. This gives an advantage not only me, but to all of my past and present teammates in our post-football careers. When Coach first asked, "What does being a part of the football program meant to you?" the answer was simple. It was something that we would talk about what seemed like every day. It wasn't just wanting to play under the lights on Fridays. It wasn't about the wins and losses. It was about being part of something so much larger than yourself. It was about being able to represent 50 brothers and Maddie day in and day out. It was about helping others develop throughout their own careers by being a building block supported by a pyramidal lineage of players that came before me. This played a huge role in not only learning how to lead, but also knowing how to follow. Football season was the most enjoyable part of every year. Being able to look forward to playing the game we all love every day after school was a huge relief. It was almost like a getaway from reality for 2 hours each night. No matter what was going on outside of where we were, we always made the most out of every situation. I can remember the gloomy days where we would all have to stop practice early and huddle in the locker room, waiting for the rain to pass. We started cornhole tournaments and just found ways to have fun. I have countless memories with my teammates on and off the field, whether we were up before the sun to make workouts or going out for wings on Thursday nights after practice. We always had an unforgettable time. Each season was full of many great on-the-field memories that led to 4 straight years of playoff wins, D10 championship games, and a trophy my freshman year. My most memorable moments off the field are when we would go out for wings or pregame breakfast, Friday night bonfires before a Saturday game, and turning the hill that overlooks Forker Field into a slip and slide in the summer and sled riding down after practice in the winter. I can't forget the memories with the coaches. From Coach Mowry, terrified for his life while whitewater rafting, joking around with Coach Zona during practice, listening to how much Coach Warner loves Hickory, to Coach Sleddy and I joking about how it seems like I've been in high school forever. Lastly, I want to thank the remaining 5 seniors for sticking together through everything. Thank you, coaches, for making my last 4 years the best possible. And to the boys and Maddie, thank you for making my senior year unforgettable.
Great job, Matthew.
Fourth grade is where...
On to our next presentation, Zach Martin.
Before I read my actual speech, I would like to thank anyone and everyone that has been involved with my career here in Grove City. Thank you to the many coaches, teammates, fans, families, and anyone attending the banquet today. You have impacted not only my career and my life, but I'm sure all the other seniors as well. To say I'm going to miss Grove City football is a severe understatement. This program and the people involved within it are so special. I've never been involved in such a tremendous atmosphere, and you don't understand how great something is unless you're truly a part of it. From day one, I knew this was something that I would never forget. I was welcomed with open arms and treated like a family all the way to the end. Over the 4 years I spent here, I was included in 4 very different teams, each one better than the last. I can proudly say that the guys and girl that I played with are some of the best friends I've ever had and continue to be till this day. Also, I consider each and every one of them family. Through tough losses and big wins, we did it together and for each other. And all that did was bring us closer and create unbreakable bonds. This program has created so many memories that I will never forget and I will cherish forever. Whether it was jamming out in the locker room after a big win at home or having our own 7-on-7 and kickball tournament, which might I add, my team won both, we all had fun. There's one memory that really stands out with me, and I know it might stick in a few other people's minds as well. I'm not going to say it directly, but I want to see how many people this really affected. For the middle linebackers, Coach Zona had one rule, and Curtis always seemed to break it. And when he broke it, the first time Coach said a single phrase that made everyone laugh hysterically. For the life of me, I will never forget that one phrase or the never-ending laughter that followed immediately after. This team and these people have taught me many lessons that I will carry with me throughout my lifetime, each one just as important as the last. Some of these lessons I had already learned, but this program really engraved them into me. All of you may know I am not the biggest person on the field, but I never let that define me, and it really put a chip on my shoulder and pushed me just that little bit more. Basically, what I'm saying is that size doesn't matter, and it should not stop you from doing what you want. Another one that really sticks out to me is that nothing is impossible if you just put your mind to it. The last and most important one, in my opinion, is to embrace change. I went through 2 positions, and I wasn't very comfortable with either of them, but I knew what I was doing was best for the team. Being a 5'8" tight end did not sound good to me at first, but I trusted my coaches and knew they had my best interest in mind. My final message to all my teammates still on the team is to cherish the time you have left. It goes by faster than you think. Thank you.
Great job, Zach. Corey Medvey.
Hi, I'd like to say, before I start, I'd like to say thank you to my parents and the coaches for everything they've done for me in the football program. My time in the football program featured some of the most fun times I've ever had, and if I could do it all again, I wouldn't want to change anything about it. Football has also allowed me to meet some great people and make great friends. I have so many memories from football that it's hard to pick a favorite one, but a lot of my favorite ones I spent with my teammates outside of practice. One of the first memories I think of is last year during two-a-days when we got stuck in the pouring rain and we were doing yoga. During this week of two-a-days, Lance Craig brought a massive tarp for us to put down on the hill as a slip and slide to use in between practices in a way to have fun and relax. I just remember when we finally got done with practice, everyone was rushing off the field and up into the field house, taking their shirts off to go back outside and to go sliding down the hill. Another one of my favorites was the week I won the hard hat. During that week, I had won our competition after lifting that day. The competition was to pull the bandana out of the sock of our opponent. In the last round, I had to go against Davion Say, and even to my surprise, I beat him. Then later that week, the leadership team went to a ropes course at Lutheran. I was the first one to step up and go around the high ropes course, and as I was finishing the course, I get back to find one of our senior players sitting on the starting platform, too scared to go around the course. I still find it funny because he was still somewhat annoyed that I beat him in the competition, and now I was better than him at the ropes course as well. Being part of the football program has been a great experience, and I wouldn't trade being part of this team for anything. I have made memories that will last a lifetime in this program, like going over to Lance's to hang out with the team and have massive bonfires. I hope all the underclassmen and all the new players that come into the program in the future will be able to create their own memories that are as great as these.
Great job, Corey. And finally, Max Myford.
If you told 7th grade me that my whole entire high school career would be based around football, I would have said that you were out of your mind. First, I want to thank all the coaches and teammates that pushed me to become a better player, teammate, friend, and person through the 4 years of high school football. We made so many memories, like the unforgettable win over Sharon on my senior night to the one time we had to run for almost an hour and a half because someone didn't bring in the Gatorade coolers at an 8th grade away game. Next, I want to thank all the parents and people that made this season possible. This year was extra difficult and seemed like it wouldn't even happen because of COVID. Finally, I want to thank my most important people of this journey, my family and friends that came to my games in support of me and my team. Especially my mom for all the countless times that she made sure I was at practice on time, and a big thank you to Mr. David for making sure I had a way to get there, pushing me to work hard even if I didn't want to, and most importantly, for believing in me when I didn't even believe in myself. In the beginning of the year, I had doubts if I even wanted to play football this season. I told my mom, and she said, "I will only let you quit if you tell Coach Murray face to face at practice. After that, it's up to you." So I went to my first practice of the season feeling like I was the worst player on the team. And after the workout, I realized why I hadn't quit after the first 4 years. I realized after those final seconds in the game that this is more than a game. It's a brotherhood full of lifelong memories and moments that I will cherish forever. So thank you, Mom, for not letting me quit, and thank you for making me the man of integrity that I am.
Great job. Great job, Max. And yes, thank you, Mrs. Myford, for not letting him pack it in that easy. I think everybody can see as you listen to those seniors speak just how special these young men are and why it was so important that we took the time today to honor these seniors. And as we wrap up tonight, everybody, thank you for being so patient as always through our ceremony. This was of utmost importance to have the opportunity to share memories and to share this special experience of our 2020 football team. As part of our boosters, one of the many things that they are a part of is fundraising, and obviously through the pandemic, our fundraising has been cut short in terms of the kinds of events that we have and what kind of future events that we're going to have. We'd like to encourage, if anybody could find it in your heart to make any type of monetary donation, we would appreciate it. And that would be honored on our wall of fame as well, thanks to John Medvey. Our Grove City boosters have Venmo, so there are different ways that we could donate. You could look up at Grove City Football as a Venmo account, and any donation would be greatly appreciated. Our boys really get spoiled, and that's because of our community and our fundraising. Could mail a check to Amy Trezona, 28 Trezona Lane, Grove City. Make the checks payable to Grove City Football Boosters. And you could also email our GCHS Football Boosters for a link to a secure credit card donation. And as John just emailed me today and made this special website, grovecityeaglesfootball.com/donate. And he's going to leave that up on the live stream if anybody could find it in their heart to make any type of monetary donation. Ladies and gentlemen, at last, our 2020 football team banquet has concluded. Thank you guys for everything. What a special group of student athletes we had this year, and what great accomplishments they have accomplished, and our seniors are off to great things. Thank you, everybody, for your contribution to making this football program first class. Soar.
Bye.